You know an anime is controversial when people are already getting cancelled before the first episode officially airs. So let's talk about Oshimai, that came out a few days ago, pre-aired by the way, not officially released, and let's talk about who made this series, what it's about, why are people getting cancelled. Let's get everything out there. Let's talk about all of this because I've been seeing a lot of discussion on this show for about 2 to 3 days now, and I really just kind of wanted to dive into it. I know I might be diving into a very toxic lake, but I do want to talk about it because obviously I'm a guy that covers anime, I cover manga, I cover news topics, etc. Because of that, obviously I feel like it's my obligation to a certain extent to talk about Oshimai regardless of how controversial necessarily it is. So let's get into it. So to start off, I want to talk about an animator that is working on the show. This individual right here, KU, is someone that follows me and I follow them, and we have talked in the past with stuff they've worked on, and I really like their work that they have actually, done in the past for anime. So let's read their post real quick that they posted to me earlier today. When the episodes I worked on airs, I'll be turning myself in to the police. Jokes aside, it's actually a wholesome show or story of a guy being turned into a girl and learns to deal with the things that come with being a girl. Yes, there are a few sus parts, so it won't be for everyone. And then they go further on to say, there is a very close similarity between Mahiro, the MC here, and Rudy from Mushoku Tensei. Both start out as NEETs, both get a new life being someone else, and both learn to change their life for the better because of it. Once I read more into Onimai, I saw why Bind picked this up. Now, as you already could see there by that brief little statement, yes, Studio Bind is the studio that is working on Oshimai or Onimai, whatever title you kind of want to apply to it. They are obviously best known for Mushoku Tensei. Literally, their very studio was basically created to make Mushoku Tensei, which I think anyone that watches my content and has seen my channel knows Mushoku Tensei. People love Mushoku Tensei. We are anticipating Season 2 of Mushoku Tensei to air in 2023. So because of all of this, obviously, all eyes are kind of set on Oshimai, because obviously it's a new project from the studio, and it seems like quite the departure from, let's say, a reincarnated in another world type story. But on closer inspection, like, the animator said here, there is some similarities, where the MC goes through a radical change. Their life is literally turned upside down, and they're in a new person's body, and they have to adjust and change for the better. So when you think about it from that perspective, it really is up Studio Bind's alley if they want to make projects like that. So once again, there is some consistency there if people are wondering about that. Now, to dive deeper into, let's say, the cancellations, because you even see people in my comments here actually talk about it, basically how, Twitter is, crucifying the show, and this isn't exclusively a Twitter thing. I've seen this on Reddit, I've seen this in different community forums, I have seen people crucifying the show, talking about it canceling people, and I know quite a few people that are on Twitter have literally been canceled and their account basically suspended or, let's say, locked for a while thanks to this show. So because of that, clearly it is causing a lot of controversy. And so let's talk about it. What is controversial about Oshimai? Well, here's the thing. Oshimai is about a guy that is a shut-in that literally gets reincarnated into a girl's body. And you can already kind of see just by the way the depiction of it is, you can see where some people might have a problem with it. And I'm not going to really dive too deep into that rabbit hole because that is something I don't want to dive into that toxic lake. That is not what I'm going to do. The point I'm saying is that there is definitely controversy around certain areas, which kind of makes itself a little bit obvious when you watch the show and you see images of it. Now, regardless of your personal stance or how you feel about it, whatever, obviously, people are getting canceled because of this, because you have that whole debate going on, which is resulting in this show getting a lot of flack for it, and this is kind of very similar to the Mushoku Tensei situation. And I don't know how many of you guys remember this, because I remember this happening, actually, when I was reviewing the show. I had a few comments, actually, telling me I shouldn't watch the show, because, I'm a little bit sus for even enjoying Mushoku Tensei, because of just Rudy as an MC. And I know there's a lot of topics and debates on this after the anime ended as well, since then. So that very discussion, if you remember the controversy around Rudy as a character and all of that, basically that's what's happening here for this series. What's happening here for Oshimai and why people are canceling others for it, etc. So yeah, it's quite the mess, honestly. Now, kind of pushing that aside, is it good? I think that is a question people will be wondering. If we push aside the moral dilemma or the baits and all that, is the first episode good? Is it high quality? Like animation-wise, voice acting, art, the background art, the sound effects, the music. Is it a good anime? Is it a good first episode? I think that's what people really do want to know. Personally, as someone that is trying to remain unbiased, separating myself from all the noise around, all the toxicity and all of that, personally, I enjoyed the first episode. Do I think it is the best anime since sliced bread? No, I do not. I do not think that this is the best anime I've ever seen. I do not think that this is probably going to be the best anime of this upcoming anime season. I do not think it will. But I do think that it legitimately is a fun show. It's a good show. I don't think it is, like I said, the highest quality, but it is a good show. And you can really see that Studio Bind likes working on this show. I mean, there's a lot of little details, a lot of, character movements, etc. that really add a lot of fluff and life to different scenes, and I can definitely see any animator that is working on this is definitely enjoying themselves. They're having a good time animating the show and just doing what they want. Now, regardless of some sus parts that make you be like, what's going on here? It does make you wonder about, people's reactions of how they would kind of react in this situation. And let's be mature here, and let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest, let's be mature. If this theoretically was possible, if a guy actually somehow magically turned 100% into a girl, they would probably do some similar things that happen within this episode. It's the truth. It's the truth. It is. And I know that's something that not a lot of people want to probably accept, but it is the truth. And this series obviously wanted to get those early, low-hanging fruit little plot threads out of the way with this episode, and I do respect that. To the whole bathroom situation, to the shower situation, to dressing situation, all these obvious low-hanging fruit plot threads with changing or turning into a girl, it was instantly already handled and done within the first episode, which opens the door up for different themes, different elements to explore in the upcoming episodes of Oshimai, which I think is a good thing. I think it does open the door up a lot for different themes that maybe have not been explored with, let's say, a gender bender series, which that is something I want to talk about. Personally, I do enjoy a good gender bender. I have read a few manga in the past and watched a few anime in the past that are gender bender related. I do enjoy them. I think it's very interesting. However, oftentimes when it comes to those type of stories, they're very generic and they go very shallow. They don't really dive too deep into concepts that really could be explored. And I think that this series getting a lot of this stuff out of the way already could lead into things that haven't really been explored enough in these other manga that I've read over the years. Now, in terms of the actual character, the MC, I guess this is the main focus. The MC obviously is a shut-in, and we get to see, a lot of stuff going on at the end, basically, besides, the obviously sus stuff. We find out that the MC is someone that feels inferior to his younger sister. And because of how he feels inferior to his younger sister, it eventually led him to being a shut-in / NEET. Now, the reason why this happened is because his sister was so good at basically everything. Good at academics, good at sports. She was an all-A student, someone that managed to skip pretty much all of high school and go straight to college. She is an excellent student. And when you compare, let's say, him to her, obviously he is just a rock on the side of the road, while she's a shining diamond, so to speak. And he feels inferior, and he is the older brother, and so being in an older sibling status, you feel a little bit more responsible. You feel like maybe you should be better in some areas, but when you're not, there is a lot of pressure and a lot of people looking at you thinking you're absolutely a pathetic person, or you're a waste, or whatever. And so the main character feels that way, feels like they're a waste, they're pathetic, and eventually that caused them to just shut themselves away in the room and just waste away. So in this case, the MC being pushed out of his shell and becoming the character he is within this episode is thanks to his little sister. his little sister kind of opened the door up and made some form of experimental medicine or whatever to be able to turn him into a girl. Now, we don't know the exact reasons how she was capable of this or whatever, but the point is she is the cause of it, and she is trying to help him kind of become a better person. At least that's what we could see from the first episode. So I think that legitimately this is a good episode if you want to look past some sus parts of it. There is a really in-depth story going on, and I am excited for it. Now, if you're someone that does like the growth of Rudy as a character from Mushoku Tensei, you probably will enjoy this anime. That's all I'm going to say. But I guess I'll leave it at that. I wanted to talk about Oshimai because I heard so much about it and a lot of controversy, and I was like, you know what? Let's throw my hat in the ring. Let's see, how this series is. But I guess I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my content and you enjoyed this video, do leave me a like, do subscribe, does help me out a lot. And with that, Chibi out.